Revelation 550. From the 18th of August 1938. Preparation of the souls from the side of the otherworldly forces. In the spiritual world, all beings are of equal importance. No soul is valued less, and therefore also the endeavor to win this for the eternity is always the same. For every soul is in its original substance a part of God and can therefore never be devalued. If an embodiment of the soul has taken place on earth, the soul will want to participate in the transformation to goodness to the same extent as the earthly body undergoes this task. An equal work of the body and the spirit must begin, so that the soul achieves the highest advantages by the earthly life. And since every soul is equal before God, also every soul will be given the same possibilities to reach the highest state of maturity. That is, a soul will not be considered less or a field of activity will be withheld from it, which could help it to maturity. Where a soul seriously devotes itself to work, it can never speak of disadvantage. It will be considered in the same way as all spiritual beings. The embodiment is granted to them as grace, and so also every soul can develop immensely high in the time of the embodiment, only it is up to it how it uses the time for eternity. If it lets itself be led over into the spheres of its actual destiny, it must also reach that perfect state which is proper to all spiritual beings in this sphere. It will hardly be able to do anything else than to develop into a godlike being in every respect, because it has within itself the consciousness of being itself a particle of the eternal Godhead. And such a justly self-recognizing God being must also be offered the help of the spiritual beings to the greatest possible extent, and it will therefore also never be able to capitulate, even if resistance appear great sometimes. Because the value of the soul remains unchanged. Everything that is God's remains unchangeably the same. It does not lose value and therefore cannot be considered different although when it comes to achieving perfection. Only the kind of influence on the souls is different and must also be different because every soul also has its own conception of the purpose of the earthly existence. And as long as it has not yet recognized the pure truth, it must be guided by influence from outside in such a way that it begins to recognize. It must be prepared to receive the divine truths, and until this state is reached, many a soul needs a longer time. Yes, it often initially rejects everything and thereby makes the way of recognition difficult for itself. And that is why many an earthly man has to fight through a difficult inner struggle before the enlightenment comes to him that every being is destined by God to enter into union with him, and that this can only happen if it is completely absorbed in its task which was set for it by the Divine Creator. Amen.